Hey everybody, welcome to TIW Podcast. I'm Eric, and this is 2019 week 14, and I'm talking about this week's new comics that I picked up. And this is got quite the stack here. A lot came out this week. Every week I'm surprised at how many comics that I subscribe to are in my box. So I just got back a little while ago, so I haven't read any of these yet, but I am looking forward to most of them. I talked a little bit about this in the SmackDown episode this week, that I finally read Wonder Twins issue 1 and 2, and I really like that comic book. It's really funny, and I absolutely, if there's only one comic book that you get, brand new comic book that you get out there, and maybe even wait for the trade paperback, because it's it's only been 2 issues so far, but I'll probably get the paperback anyway, even though I have the individual issues. But it's just so funny. It had me laughing out loud throughout the entire both books so far, so I really recommend that. Also, DC came out with their first DC Zoom book, which is the Super Sons book 1, the Tidebreaker Project, or something like that. I don't have it here right next to me. I put it up on the shelf because I read the whole thing. Yeah, it's geared towards 8 to 12-year-olds, so it's a really fast read if you're older than that. But it's a pretty fun story. It's kind of the author's own take on the characters, so it isn't consistent with it's its own thing. It's in this kind of speculative near future where there's global warming and the tides have risen, and Metropolis has this big wall around it, in Gotham, I think. That's made by the Wayne Enterprises, etc. And it's a whole thing about Superman goes off to go get a meteor so that they can get the the minerals, the resources from that meteor, the materials, to help reverse the global warming and all that kind of stuff, the climate change. And it's pretty cool. Like, that's like the big world picture of it. But then we also get the local story with John and Damian, who in this goes by Ian, coming together. They also make a couple of friends. I forget their names. A couple of girls at their school are also in on the stuff that's going on, and one of the characters, she's like part of royalty and stuff like that, and it isn't really explored in this first book, but it's set up to that. And then the preview for the next book, it looks like we're going to get to know her like family and her legacy a lot more. So it's a pretty cool book, and I don't think I enjoyed it, so I don't think you have to be 8 to 12 years old to read it and enjoy it, because it's a good story, and also has that the science aspect of it. Like, could this actually happen? Let me go learn more about all this global climate change and stuff like that. So I really recommend that. They also had their first DC Inc. book come out. It came out the same day, so I got them both at the same time. I pre-order. All of these you can pre-order on Amazon. I get all of my trade paperback type stuff on Amazon since it's a lot cheaper. But and I can pre-order, and it's going to get to me that day and whatnot. But Mira Tidebreaker. That's why I was thinking Tidebreaker. It's the polar something. The Polar Zone project. It's something. Polar Shields, maybe? Mira Tidebreaker is the DC Inc. book. I have not read this yet, but this one is for a little bit older. On the website, it says it's 13 and up. So I am looking forward to that. I think I also pre-ordered the one about Raven, and there's I think there's a Nightwing one. a couple other ones. There's like 5 or 6 books in each. The next one that comes out on DC Zoom isn't until August, but then like a bunch start coming out after that, so that's pretty cool. But it's the Dear Justice League, I think it is, and there's a preview for that in the book at the end of that book as well. So I recommend that first one, the Super Sons one. It's pretty good, but I have not read Mira yet. So once I do read it, I'll let you all know. Yeah, I think that's all of the I did get caught up on some other books, but nothing nearly as notable as Wonder Twins. It's just so good. Actually, Superman has been really good. I don't like the variant covers the last couple of issues, but all the stuff with John Kent and him telling him about what happened while he was out in the cosmos with his grandfather and all that stuff. I really enjoyed that, and I've been liking Superman since this new volume started, but now with John coming back and seeing these stories about him being away, it's really cool and interesting stuff. Just a little bit of spoilers. He ends up in one of the alternate universe where you have the crime syndicate, and so he's like held hostage by Ultraman, who is that universe's Clark Kent, and he's like trapped in this volcano, and he's telling it how like, oh, well, I used the last of my powers to get out of there and all this kind of stuff, and it seems pretty insane, and he keeps saying how proud of himself he is that he got out of it without all by himself. So yeah, there's more to it, because how does he get back to this dimension? I'm excited to see what happens next there. All right, so let's talk about all of this week's new comics that I picked up. First, Betty and Veronica, number 4 of 5. It says Prom Queens on the front there. I am caught up on this one, so I'll probably read that one before my trip this weekend. Die, number 5. I am still behind on this one, so I've got to read those. But all the artwork in from cover to cover, excellent from Stephanie Hans, and I'm excited to see what the cover on this one is really cool. It's got a lady with this looks like a hammer, but with a horn on it. It's kind of weird. It's like a meat cleaver on the back. It's not like a flat end. It's like a pokey end and then a really pokey end. But yeah, Die, issue number 5, that came out this week. Jim Henson's The Storyteller, Sirens. This is tale 1 of 4. The cover art of this is really cool. You've got a siren there in the middle, and then all the fish swimming around her. I almost said the fish were flying around her, which swimming is flying. It's just in a thicker medium. I'll probably read that before I go too. The Walking Dead issue number 190. Things are really picking up now as of that last issue. I will definitely read this shortly after I finish recording this podcast. It's been a while since I've been excited for the comic book. And if you're interested in the TV show, go and listen to my reviews of the second half of this season. We just had the finale this past Sunday. So I don't want to spoil anything about either of the Walking Dead book or comic or TV show. Speaking of Super Sons, we have Adventures of the Super Sons number 9. I'm still way back on issue 2 or 3 on this one, but since it's a 12-issue maxi series, I'm not super worried about getting caught up on this one until all parts are out. But this one has Jonah Hex on the cover. Showdown on Hex World. That sounds pretty fun. I don't know what the context is coming from issue 8, but I guess I'll find out at some point. Then we have Deadpool number 11. I'm also behind on this a couple of issues. We see on the cover here that Deadpool is being worn as a cape. And that looks very painful. It's like every single bone in his body is broken. Hot Shots issue number 2. Another issue with Deadpool on the cover there. Because we ended the last issue with Deadpool coming up on the ladies of the Hot Shots crew. And he's there to stop them from doing something, I think, if I remember correctly. I'm excited for that. The Dreaming number 8. I'm really far behind on this, but this cover is badass. You've got like the flowers and the figure in the background. I don't know the characters' names and stuff. But then a raven in front of them, and the raven, I think it's meant to be the raven's eyes and then a glowing thing in the place of the person's eyes. But whatever, it's pretty cool. I really like that cover art. Female Furies issue number 3. Dream a Little Dream of Death. I really like this run so far. It's a 6-issue miniseries. I don't know if maybe I just wasn't paying attention to that. Or I got the variant of it, so it didn't have that on the cover. I wasn't aware that it was a 6-issue miniseries. I thought it was I don't know what I thought. But we're halfway through it, and I'm looking forward to reading that. Green Lantern number 6, another awesome variant here. Is it by Perio? And I like this book so much. It's all kinds of weird stuff going on. Not as weird as Martian Manhunter has been, but you got all the space stuff. And I enjoy that quite a bit, especially in contrast to, Superman, all that stuff is in space. But in contrast to a bunch of the other books that I've been keeping up on, which are not necessarily doing stuff in space. Yeah, I think I'm caught. I think I've read up to issue number 5 so far. So I think I can dive right back into that one next. Justice League issue 21. I'm very far behind on this. I think I'm like 4 issues behind now, but this cover is fantastic. It's really good. I really like this style, and I'm opening it up to see who the artist is. It's got like a, I don't know, really know how to describe it. It's like it's like bold, but it's not cartoony, which is an interesting thing to pull that off. It is Jay Lee and Jun Chung, I think, have did the variant cover for this one. Very cool, very cool. I need to get caught up on Justice League. Now that I'm caught up on Superman and Action Comics, I was only 1 issue behind on Action Comics, but now that I'm caught up on those, I need to. Oh, also, I read Detective Comics number 1000, and it's just chock full. It's like 10 different stories, something like that, maybe even more than that. Lots of really cool stuff in there. We have stuff from the future, stuff from the past, stuff from the present. All 3 types of time that things can take place in. I'm trying to remember what one of my favorite ones was. I really, really like the one where all of the Bat family is gathered on a rooftop waiting for Batman to arrive, and they're like, "Oh, hey, why is he calling us together? Are they kicking one of us out?" I think it's Jason was convinced that he is going to get kicked out of there. Yeah, it's just them all chatting with each other throughout while Batman's taking care of some stuff. We see their conversations continue, and then he arrives, and I don't want to give the twist away. It's really good. I really, really like that story in particular. I'm not sure what the name of that story is, but it's it has like one of the best. It has my favorite artwork of the whole issue a nice big spread showing all of these characters together. It's worth checking out just for that story. But the rest of the stories are really good too. We got one with an elderly Cobblepot talking to an elderly Bruce Wayne. That one's really cool. We got this one story about what's the guy's name? There's like a henchman that we see all the villains talking about how this henchman just messes things up. He's like the most inept hire that any of them have ever had, and they're sharing all these stories about him. And that one has a really cool like the whole story is really cool, really funny. I think that's probably my second favorite story from this book. So if you haven't gotten issue number 1000 yet, I'm sure there are still plenty of copies available with all the different variants that they put out. Like I said, when I picked it up, I think my favorite is the 1930s variant. It is really cool. Like, that's in my top 5 covers right there, along with a couple of other ones that I've mentioned on the show before. So yeah, I recommend it. Another one from last week. And I'll try to do that a little bit more if I do read something, because I've been recording these episodes right when I pick up all the comics without having read any of them. So I'm going to try to go back and talk about stuff from the last week or further back than that, if it's particularly notable, to let you know that they're good. They're really good. It'll usually just be the really, really good stuff that I'll talk about later on, as I have today already. Robotech issue number 19. I'm ridiculously far behind on that one. So no comment, I guess. I got the variant and the regular cover of Rocko's Modern Afterlife, issue number 1 of 4. I didn't realize that Anthony Birch is one of the writers on this, so that's pretty cool. He's the if it is the same Anthony Birch I'm thinking of, who wrote was like the head writer of Borderlands 2 and a bunch of other stuff. But Rocko's Modern Afterlife, that looks awesome. The variant cover has, okay, so the regular cover has Rocko and his friends fighting off zombies, and then the variant cover has Rocko and his friends as zombies. So I'm guessing the regular cover is the actual situation in the book, but that's still cool to see that on that variant. Spider-Gwen Ghost Spider, issue number 7. I caught up on this book this week also. Read issue number 5 and 6, and that was I really liked those issues, and I was delighted when I saw at the end of issue number 6 it said, hey, issue number 7's coming out on April 3rd. I'm like, oh my god, that's tomorrow. I get to go right into the next part of the story. And now that I'm thinking about it, I can't remember exactly what happened in those last 2 issues, but this one's going to be good. Remember, I was looking up, because she was talking about it more than she had in the previous issues, about her suit being a symbiote. And I wasn't really aware of that. I thought it was, I guess I kind of figured that because you see it like form on her body and stuff like that. But one of the cool things was, oh, that's right, she's like trying to help pay rent and stuff by starting to do like odd jobs. She finds somebody's purse, and the lady gives her some money for it. So that's kind of fun. It's like Uber for Spider-Man, for Spider-Woman. Yeah, stuff like that. It makes this book really, really fun. She's having problems with her band. It's not her band, it's Mary Jane's band. And so there's that drama there as well. And yeah, it's just really good. Oh, that was a that was a really funny joke. this book reminded me of, because she goes to class and she's like, why am I in class? Everybody knows who I am. This is just like a waste of time. People are just bothering me the whole time and all that. I'm going to go out and try to do good and all that. But in Wonder Twins, they were talking about like prison and stuff. And they're like, well, the closest thing we have to prison from where we're from is community college. It was really, really funny. One of many, many things that are so funny in that book. Yeah, community college. I didn't go to community college, but I share a campus with a community college, and a few of the classes I had were in the buildings that were mostly, they were like the Common Core type classes, you know, like very basic physics and stuff like that. The kind of thing that's, you know, you're just taking to fulfill the requirement. And yeah, so that felt very similar to the community college type of feel that I've heard so much about on television and stuff. So I can kind of relate to that. But anyway, Suicide Squad Black Files issue number 6. I can finally finish reading this. I think I might be caught up on this. I'm not sure, but story complete after I do read this. Faust triumphant. That doesn't seem like good news, but I have a feeling it might be a misdirection. Uncanny X-Men issue number 15 came out. We have a nice cover of Cyclops getting hit in the face with the with the holographic operating system. No, that's his laser beams shooting out, and then his head is recoiling, I think. I don't know. It could be either one. Then we have Young Justice issue number 4, No Escape from Lord Opal. We've got all of them trapped in a giant head there on the cover. Pretty cool cover. Looks like by Gleason and Sanchez. And that brings us to the last deal here. I believe I missed out on 17.hu of The Amazing Spider-Man Hunted. So I might have to get that on Comixology or something. A little bit bummed that I won't have the complete run of Hunted. I guess I could get that on Amazon or something like that and pay a little bit extra for it. But yeah, pretty cool cover. I am not caught up on this at all, so I don't know the context of it or anything. But Amazing Spider-Man has been just that so far as I have read on this current run, and so I am looking forward to it. So that is, I believe, everything I wanted to talk about in this episode. I'll probably only read a couple of these before next week's episode, because I leave tomorrow morning, Thursday morning, and I get back on next Wednesday. So a week from now, approximately, is when I'll actually get back home. So I probably won't even get to the comic book shop until the next day or the day after that. But yeah, I'll hopefully read a couple of these. I'm going to try to read some older stuff, especially Superior Spider-Man, the original run of that, while I'm on my trip, since I'll have my iPad. And the iPad, like the big one, is I have the 12 point whatever inch one. That is amazing for reading comics. Reading comics like on a phone, even a big one of the plus iPhones, is I mean, it's doable, but it's not really that fun. It's like kind of a chore. You have to like pinch and zoom and like scroll around if you really want to get into reading it well. If you have a big iPad or a big other tablet device for Comixology, it is amazing. And I don't recommend buying one just for that. especially not buying an iPad Pro just for that. But if you do have an iPad Pro, it is awesome for reading comics. And then, of course, great for other things like drawing and mainly drawing, which is what I use it for. But I have been painting a lot this last week, getting more into watercolor. So talking a little about conventions coming up. Actually, you know what? This is the comic episode. I am going to talk about the comic conventions that'll be at coming up. I think I've mentioned a few of them, but let me pull up. I use my own website to look up the dates. I heard somebody talking about that on a podcast, like that they missed one because they don't put the college. I think it was Chris D'Elia. But yeah, if you're updating your own stuff or whoever's updating your stuff puts it on your website, then you can access your website from anywhere without having be logged in to like Google Documents or something like that. So I have a bunch of comic conventions booked now. Let's see, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I have eight that are for sure happening between now and the end of September. I'm really excited for that, for all of these, and I'm trying to work on new stuff and also figure out a great process, the best process to creating new pieces while I'm at the conventions for commissions and stuff like that. So, the one coming up fast here in like 4.5 weeks, May 4th and 5th, the Arctic Comic Con in Anchorage, Alaska. I'll be an artist alley. All of these are artist alley. And then May 18th and 19th, I'll be at Comic Con Revolution in Ontario, California. That one should be really fun. And then June 7th through 9th, I'll just say all of them. No, I'll stop at I'll just say the rest that are in June. So far in June, I have Ogden Uncon, June 7th through 9th in Ogden, Utah. June 14th through 16th, Celebrity Fan Fest in San Antonio, Texas. And June 22nd through 23rd, the St. Louis Mighty Con, which is in St. Charles, Missouri. So if you live anywhere near one of those places, come check them. Come check out the conventions. Come say hello. And if you want to get some of my artwork, this is my Demon Jackal artwork. So demonjackal.com to see what that is all about. And I'll hopefully be posting some stuff online, new stuff online pretty soon. There's a bunch of prints and other things that you can buy directly from the website. You don't have to go to one of these conventions for that. But yeah, I've been painting a lot this last week, which is very, very different, but it's really, really fun. I feel like I hit kind of a turning point a couple of days ago when I went for I've avoided like drawing or painting anything anywhere close to realistic. I prefer like cartoonish stuff or like minimal, like shape based, like the tribal kind of looking designs, like stamp type stuff. I've avoided trying to do anything more realistic because I feel like I've always felt like I'm not very good at it. But I just went for it to paint an elephant the other day, and I was really happy with how it came out. I was like surprised. Like as I was painting, I was like, this is turning out really good. Like I'm not saying it's really like it's from what I expected it to be. Like I really like how this is turning out. And I tried another one of a lion. It didn't work out so well, but I was using a different kind of paint, and I forgot that I was using that kind of paint and not regular. I was using gouache instead of watercolor, and it's a different. You have to think about it differently, and I hadn't really practiced this type of thing, this type of painting with gouache yet, and so it was like okay, it was of a lion. But then I did one with. I pulled out the regular watercolors. So I was doing the same process I did with the elephant and decided, okay, I'm not going to dive into doing all the colors yet. go back to a gray animal, a rhinoceros, and use the same approach that I did with the elephant. And this one turned out, I love it. These are my two favorite paintings so far, is of the elephant and the rhinoceros. And you can see both of those at the Demon Jackal on Instagram. I posted those both on there in a single post. So I might be doing more of those, mainly just gray animals for now. And they're part of my Demon Jackal style because they have the semicircle eyes that the other previous designs have. So that's like the unifying. That's always been the unifying design element of these. And moving forward into having like, not just having the head-on images of animals, having like side view of animals, having them actually like action shots of more realistic animals and things like that. These two paintings are not action shots. They're just standing there. But you got to start somewhere. You got to stand before you walk. You got to walk before you run. And that includes action shots of creatures. So anyway, I am really excited for that. Like I said, I'm headed out to WrestleMania this weekend. I'm not taking any WWE comics with me to get signed because it's kind of I don't have anyone in particular that I know that I'm going to be meeting at WrestleMania Access. But it would have been really cool to be able to meet them. But at WrestleMania, so the VIP tickets are a lot more expensive and all that. So, and they sold out like instantly, and so it's all resale. And seeing as I ended up, I bought a VIP ticket last year on a resale site for a lot more than it originally cost to get a picture and sign. In a signing with Asuka, and then come Royal Rumble Access, she was just one of the general admission photo opportunities, and I got a picture with her twice, and it was just part of general admission. But anyway, I feel like it will end up being that same type of situation anyway. But I do have a ticket for the whoever are the NXT champions, NXT champion and NXT women's champion. But I don't know if there is maybe I will take, I think one of the NXT, issues has either, Kyrie. I think one of them has Kyrie on it. She might win. One of them I think maybe has Shayna on it and she might win. And then I think one of them has Gargano on it. But I don't think Adam Cole is on any of them. But anyway, so stay tuned for over this weekend. It'll be all wrestling stuff after today. Maybe the Doom Patrol episode. But that's I got Survivor tonight. I'll hopefully be able to get tonight's episode about that. But otherwise, until next time, it's going to be all wrestling, all WrestleMania, all NXT TakeOver, and maybe talking about going to the zoo and stuff. I think I might go to the zoo out there. But I'll talk about all of that more over the weekends, and let me know what you thought and what you're looking forward to in comic books coming up by tweeting me at TIW Podcast. Go to TIWpodcast.com for more reviews. Listen on or subscribe on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, YouTube, wherever you like to listen to your podcasts. And I'll be back real soon with more here on TIW Podcast. Thanks for listening. Bye.